Today we're making chicken francese for the very first time. Never made it in my life. So essentially, we're using chicken breast cutlets, and we're gonna be making some potatoes on the side. They're gonna be very good, so let's get it going. First things first is the potatoes because they need to boil. So basically, I'm gonna get a pot, I'm gonna fill it with some water, get them in there, and get it going. So this should be fairly simple. I'm gonna take out my beautiful knife, get all of my potatoes, and lay them out on a little pile on the board. And now, let's get to cutting. So now that we have all of our potatoes cut up, we are gonna wait for the water to start boiling, and then we're gonna move over to this camera. And as you see right here, we have all the potatoes, and we're gonna wait for this to boil a little more, and then we're gonna put them in there and let them boil. And I almost forgot one crucial part of this whole equation, and that is much, much better. Now I am following a recipe online. It doesn't make any sense at all, but essentially I cut the breast in half, I flour it, I put egg wash on it, and then I'm gonna put it in a pan with some oil. I'm not understanding when I add the white wine though. I am gonna kind of wing the sauce, but we'll see what happens. So now we have our chicken breast. We're gonna cut this package right open. This is gonna be lunch for me and my mother, so it's only making for two. Isn't too bad. And the chicken that came in this packet is already pretty thin, so I'm not gonna slam it down too much. I am gonna break it a little bit because there's a little bit of blood right here. I don't want the stuff on my food. Now we're gonna smash it a little bit, make it real nice and thin. My camera might have fell right there, but I think it'll be fine. I think we're good. So the water is boiling as we see. We're gonna put in all of the potatoes real quick, and essentially we're just gonna let them boil until they are literally soft. Then we're gonna put them in the air fryer, let them cook up, and it's gonna be delicious. I don't have a hammer to kind of smash the chicken, so essentially what we're gonna do here is rip a big piece of plastic off. We're just gonna put it down, and you'll see what we do. Lay it over the chicken, and now we're just gonna go to pound and really just get after it with our fists. And now that we have our chicken nice and destroyed, it's still edible though, we are gonna prepare our egg wash and our flour station. So real quick, let's move over to the GoPro. We're gonna put our pan down right here. This is the pan that we're gonna use. Hopefully the GoPro doesn't fall, because if it falls, it's going straight in the sauce. So that would really suck. But if it falls, it falls. It's a GoPro, it'll last. But now we go back to this camera, and we have two of these bowls. One of them is gonna be for egg, one of them is gonna be for flour. Now I do have to look up which one goes first. I'm pretty sure it's flour, then egg, but we'll see. So we got our flour here. We're just gonna put this right into the bowl. We're not gonna put too much flour, just a little bit. Again, we're not doing too much of the chicken, so it's really nothing crazy. We are gonna put salt and pepper into this just to make sure that it's really seasoned up really, really nice. Am I supposed to do this? I don't know. Am I gonna do it? Absolutely. Now we're just gonna shake this around, pretend to get the salt and pepper nice and mixed up in there. That is phenomenal. Now hopefully you can't hear the fan for the microwave, because I did have to turn it on because it's getting a little steamy in here, let me tell you. Now we're gonna make our little egg wash right here, crack 3 eggs. Now I got my fork. We're just gonna whisk these around, make sure it's mixed up real nice. My grandmother would absolutely kill me because she never ever let me whisk with a fork. But here we go. Sorry, Avokrida, I love you very, very much, but it has to be done. Now again, I don't cook really well. I'm not the greatest chef. I know how to cook basic things like eggs, rice, stuff like that, but this channel is going completely out of my comfort zone. But now that we have the eggs nice and whisked, we are gonna make sure and dip everything into everything. So let's go over to the GoPro real quick. So now we're over here at the GoPro cam. We are gonna get our pan nice and hot just to make sure that it's ready for the chicken francese. So now let's go over here, turn this bad boy on. We're gonna go to a medium to high heat. We're gonna get the pan nice and hot because I wanna transfer the chicken all the way directly into this. So back over here, let's get the smallest piece of our chicken and put it in the flour, mix it up nice and well. Make sure it gets a beautiful coat of flour. Again, has to be covered really, really well. We want to make sure that it has a really good fry on it. So we're going to tap it down, put it in the egg wash real quick. Just a quick egg wash, nothing crazy. We're just going to leave it in there on the side where the egg wash isn't too much of. Here now at the GoPro, we're going to throw in some olive oil just to make sure that it gets a really nice sear on it. Even though we're not searing the chicken and I don't really know what I'm talking about, that's what we're going to do. Now that I got my chicken, we're just going to lay it down flat in the pan. Let that cook, go back over here. Some more flour on the second one, because now I want to do this fairly quickly. I want to get as much flour into it as possible. Really want to make sure that it gets cooked nice and evenly. We're going to do 3 minutes on one side on high, minutes on the other side of all the chicken, and then we're going to put it on medium. Just kind of let it cook all together. Right here, we got the second chicken going in. That is cooking, that is loud. We're getting the last one and the biggest chicken breast out here. I might have made way too much. I might have to make some scrambled eggs with leftover eggs, I swear to God. Want to make sure we get flour on every piece of this chicken. We don't want any of it to go to waste. Throw it in the egg wash real quick. Very quick dunky dunk for the boys. Now we're gonna move it on over into the pan. Bada bing, bada boom. Make sure it's nice and in there. Now we're gonna let that cook just for a little bit on high heat. Now we are gonna prepare our tray for the potatoes. So as you see, we already made potatoes yesterday. I'm honestly gonna leave it on there because it's just olive oil. But I'm gonna put a little bit more olive oil on this pan, just a little bit more, that's actually a lot. And we're gonna get this ready for all of the potatoes that we're gonna throw on here, so let's put this to the side. And now back over at the GoPro, we are just waiting for the chicken to really start browning on one side. We're gonna flip all the chicken, then let it brown on the other side. Now back over to this camera, we are gonna start prepping our lemons because we did go to the store, get some fresh lemons. I did buy 2. Again, I didn't realize that we had a whole packet of lemons in the fridge, but that's besides the point. So right now, what I'm essentially gonna do is I'm gonna cut right down the middle of this lemon just like that, and we're gonna cut it into very thin slices. So we got 1 slice right there, 2 slices right there, 3 slices right there, and I'm gonna try to make 4 slices out of each. And then I will use this end piece to just spritz some lemon juice on it. So now we have 4 lemons. I am going to use 4 lemons in the pan, and then I'm gonna use 4 lemons on top of the chicken just so it's really lemony. So we have, actually we're gonna do 4 and 3 here. So we're gonna put 4 in the pan to kind of start the pan. Then we're gonna put these 3 on top of the actual chicken to get some of that flavor. So now over here, I believe the chicken did start to brown on one side and it's completely stuck to the pan. This is really good news for us. The chicken, it's completely stuck. This is not, oh no. Okay, this might, oh God almighty. It's completely stuck, boys. It's not looking good. So what we're gonna do to try to save this is we're just gonna start using a spatula and really dive in there, really try to get under it. Okay, that's not that bad. That's not the worst. It could have been much worse. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit more olive oil all over the pan just to make sure it doesn't stick, but it's still obviously gonna stick. But we have it on a medium heat now, and we're just gonna let it in there for a couple more minutes. We're gonna pull it off, then let it rest. And we are also gonna prepare our sauce. So we're gonna get a stick of butter here. And again, sticks of butter are great. I'm only gonna use probably a half a stick of butter because I don't wanna die. Let's get this chop going. That's a really solid chop there. So we have half a stick of butter. I think that should be enough for us, maybe a little bit more there. We're gonna use this for our rose sauce. We'll also use the leftover flour that we have from dipping the chicken into our rose sauce, just so it thickens up a little bit. But now back over to the GoPro. I think the chicken is ready, so we're gonna turn down the heat and we're gonna pull it off onto the side pan. So now this is our pan. It's a little bit terrible. It's not the greatest, but essentially I have all of these little crispy parts of the chicken. I don't really care. I'm just gonna put the sauce right in there. It might add some flavor. So now we got a medium heat going. We're gonna add all of our sticks of butter. That stick of butter in there, it's a little high right now. Put it a little bit lower. Again, we don't want the butter to burn, so we have to put it a little bit lower. I might take it off the heat right now just to make sure that it doesn't burn, because again, I don't want the butter to burn at all. I want it to just start kind of browning, but I think we are gonna burn it, sadly. Now we're gonna add a little bit of the flour. We're just gonna mix it very, very slowly because again, I want it to turn into a thickish sauce. I wanna cook out the kind of pastry flavor of the flour. So we're gonna start doing that, and then we'll eventually add the white wine. We're gonna add little by little because I'm very afraid of cooking with wine. I've never actually done it, so I am pretty terrified of this. Now we're gonna pour in a very, very, very small amount of wine, a very small amount. Again, I didn't put too much wine in there because I am using Moscato wine, and Moscato is a very, very sweet white wine. And the last thing I wanna do is overpower it in any way. So essentially, I'm gonna add a little bit more flour, stir this up a little bit more, and then I'm gonna let it simmer for a little bit because again, I don't want the sauce to be way too thick. I do want it to be good. It doesn't really smell good right now, but maybe that'll change. And if the sauce isn't good, I'm honestly just not gonna use it. We are gonna squeeze in some of this beautiful lemon zest or lemon juice into the sauce. Let it get some of that lemon flavor because again, I kind of do want the lemon flavor to overpower anything that's in here. Again, is this how you make chicken Francese? I'm not sure. Am I doing it like this? Yes, I am. So now I'm gonna put it on the lowest heat that I can actually make it onto and just let it sit there for a little bit. I honestly don't know if I'm even close to doing this right. I followed directions, but barely. I really didn't look at them too much. So this could be a horrible entree. This could be the most delicious chicken Francese I've ever made in my life. I also work in a restaurant, so thank God I'm not a cook. Let me just say that. I think the sauce, I mean, it's not bad, and I'm just gonna let the chicken kind of sit in here and warm up. I'm not gonna actually leave the chicken in here. Now let's slide that chicken back in there. Just like this. We're just gonna kind of let it cook there for a little bit, probably 3 to 4 minutes. And then we're just gonna leave it as is, top it, and then the potatoes are gonna have to cook a little bit, which is fine. If you guys do have any other ideas for any other foods you wanna see me make, I mean, let me know in the comments because again, I'm just getting into this whole cooking thing. I do wanna bake a couple things. I think baking's a hell of a lot easier, so. The potatoes are now ready to use, so let's transfer them onto this. I'm just literally gonna scoop them with a spoon and just call it a day here, you know what I mean? I should probably put it through something where the the water can really drain, but honestly, I'm not gonna. They don't look too bad at all. We're gonna sprinkle a little bit more olive oil, put some salt and pepper, put them in the air fryer at 425 for about 20 minutes. Then essentially, we should be fully done with our beautiful, made up and makeshift chicken francese. Now, I'll be honest, the worst part about cooking is I have to clean, and I despise cleaning so much, but I'm gonna do it. Now our potatoes just finished cooking, so let's set up the plates and make it look beautiful. And just like that, we are all done. Here are the results. Honestly, it looks pretty fire. It doesn't look too bad at all. We made 2 plates, one for my mother and one for me. Honestly, the chicken doesn't look bad. The francese sauce isn't great. I mean, there isn't really much francese sauce on there, but it's the thought that counts. And honestly, I think I did pretty well. But give me some other stuff to cook. I'll give it my best shot, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.